Welcome to Beyond the Needle, the Aesthetics Business Podcast. I'm your host, Emily Ruse. I'm a former clinic manager turned digital marketing freelancer, and I've had the privilege of helping dozens of aesthetic practitioners across the UK and beyond grow their business. So I know firsthand just how challenging it can be to build a successful aesthetics practice in today's competitive market. Each week, I'm here to share real, actionable strategies and bring on expert guests to help you level up, attract more patients, and build a standout brand. Let's turn your passion into a thriving business together. Hi everyone, and welcome to another episode of Beyond the Needle. This is actually the 10th episode and the final episode of season 1. I can't believe how quickly it's flown by. It's been an amazing journey and I'm really excited to come back and start season 2, which will be in a couple of weeks. I'm not taking a long break between the two seasons and I've already got some amazing guests lined up for season 2, so I'm really excited to get started. But season 1's been amazing. I didn't know what to expect when I first launched this podcast. I didn't know if anyone would listen. I didn't know if it would interest anybody. But over the last 10 weeks, I've grown an amazing little listening base and I've had some really lovely feedback from people. So I just want to thank everyone for tuning in and for supporting the podcast. Even if you've just listened to one episode, it really does mean the world. And I'm so excited to come back and start the second season. And today I'm talking about a subject that has actually been requested quite a few times from people. It seems to be something that people are becoming more and more interested in, which I'm glad about, because I feel like when I first started Bloom and Beyond Studio, my marketing business, social media marketing was like the only thing that practitioners were interested in. And now I get a lot more people come to me for email marketing support, and more people ask about email marketing or want content or trainings to do with email marketing. So I'm ending the season with an episode that has been highly requested. We're going to deep dive into everything you need to know about email marketing for aesthetic clinics, or as much as I can go into on a 40-minute podcast, including what it is, why it works, and exactly how to use it to grow your business. So if you have ever wondered how to build a loyal patient base, nurture leads, and increase bookings without constantly chasing new clients on social media, then today's episode is for you. Now, I know email marketing doesn't seem as sexy or as exciting as Instagram Reels or TikTok videos, but it is far more powerful than many people actually realise. Email marketing has an average return on investment of £36 for every £1 spent. It's direct, it's personal, and unlike social media, it's not at the mercy of an algorithm. So I say this to people all the time: your social media platforms, your social media profiles, they're on borrowed land. You don't own that. That could be taken away at any time. Just look at what everyone went through in America when TikTok was banned for about 24 hours, but they didn't know it was going to be just for 24 hours. They didn't know whether that was ever going to actually come back. All of those businesses in America that had built huge platforms, or, you know, even like e-commerce businesses over in America who's, you know, been selling a lot of products through TikTok, suddenly didn't have that platform anymore. That was taken away from them. Imagine the impact that can have on a business who relies on TikTok to make sales. It could literally have broken that business overnight. And when you're over relying on social media for leads and inquiries, that's the risk that you take. But when you build an email list, you own that email list. Those people have given you their email address and they've given you permission to contact them. And when you email them, it lands directly in their inbox, giving you a unique opportunity to connect with potential and existing patients in a way that other platforms just simply can't. So if you're not using email marketing, or if you've just been sending the odd newsletter and hoping for the best, then this episode is hopefully going to change the game for you. And by the end, you'll know exactly how to build an email list, grow it with the right audience, craft engaging emails that people actually want to read, and understand how to use email marketing to nurture leads, increase bookings, and even upsell treatments, because, you know, that is the beauty of email marketing. You can plant the seed of curiosity in people's minds very, very easily and open their mind to other treatments that perhaps they hadn't thought about before. They might be coming to you for Botox, but then you send an email out about skin treatments, laser, peels, whatever it might be, and open up their mind to what the benefits of those treatments and how those treatments can support their existing treatment program. So email marketing really is powerful, and I'm excited to go into it today. So grab a coffee, get comfortable, and let's dive in. So before we get into strategy, let's start with the absolute basics, because you cannot make email marketing work if you don't have anyone to send emails to in the first place. But before we even get to that, let's talk about email marketing platforms, because that's what people ask me about a lot. They ask me about the platforms that I'd recommend, the best ones to use, all that kind of thing. And really, there are a lot, and it's probably best you do your research on the different options out there, because if you're just looking to send weekly emails or bi-weekly emails or monthly emails to your mailing list and that's it, then you don't need to make it too complicated. So just having a marketing platform like MailerLite or MailChimp, where you just have your email list and maybe you have a landing page that you have built on there that you can use in your link in bio on Instagram, or you can link on your website or have as a pop-up on your website, so that people can sign up to your mailing list and you can collect their emails easily when they land on your website. If that's all you need it for, you don't need to make it too complicated. But if you're looking to create different workflows or segment your mailing list, so you want to go down the route of having people segmented into different lists based on the different treatments that they're interested in or the age category that they fall into, then you might want to look for a platform like Klaviyo or Infusionsoft that just allows you to build more comprehensive workflows. They are very tricky to get set up, so you would need to get an expert involved to help you build all of the funnels and link them to the right places. But the possibilities with email marketing really are endless, and it could be that you start off small and you build up to something like that where you have multiple different workflows, or you segment your list, and list segmentation is good if you have a really big email list, or if you have a very busy clinic and lots of different treatments and half of your patients come in and they have skin treatments, or perhaps you have a private GP or wellness services and people come in and they're mainly interested in that and they're not really likely to respond very well to an email geared towards injectables. If you have people who come in and they have very different services, then that is where you might want to split those people up and have them in different segments and they receive different types of emails, because there's no point in emailing people about things that they're totally not interested in, and that's when you're going to get people opt out and the emails that you're sending just aren't going to be received in the right way, and they're not going to be best optimized for the people that are receiving them. So you really need to work out where the best place for you to start is. And if you have a relatively small email list, then I would just start very simple. I personally use a platform called Flowdesk, which I really like. It is about £40 a month, and it's probably in the same category as things like MailerLite and MailChimp and ActiveCampaign and Constant Contact. But I just like it because the templates are really nice. It's very easy to create very aesthetic looking emails. And for my workflows that I have set up on my lead magnets, I find it really simple to use, and it doesn't take up much of my time when I need to create a new workflow. So that's why I use Flowdesk. And personally, I like it a lot more than the other options out there. But with things like MailerLite or MailChimp, if you're starting from scratch, if you don't have a mailing list, or if you have a very, very small mailing list, they are completely free, or at least the subscription is very, very small. So it just depends on how much you want to spend as well. So once you've got that out of the way and you've decided what platform you're going to be using, you need to start building a mailing list, because you cannot make email marketing work if you don't have anyone to send emails to in the first place. But you've probably got an existing patient database that you can get started with. Now, I get it with people who come to me and they want me to help them with email marketing, and they've not been doing email marketing up until that point. And they say, oh yeah, I've got a big patient database, I'll just send you all of their emails. No, you can't do that. There is such thing as GDPR, and people have to opt in and give you permission to send them marketing emails. That's why whenever you buy something online or whenever you do anything online to do with the business, they're going to ask you if you will give them permission to email you and send them marketing emails specifically, because you have to give a business permission in order for them to do that. And it's the same thing, even if someone comes to you already and they're a customer of yours, they come regularly for treatments, it doesn't mean that they want to receive marketing emails from you. So you need to get permission from those people before you start emailing them marketing content. Now, perhaps you have consent forms that include this option on there already, so people might have already ticked that and you've just not been using those emails. If you don't have that on your consent form and you have nothing where they've officially agreed to opt into your mailing list, then I would take your patient database, put it into this email marketing platform that you have set up, and send out an email to your entire patient database and ask them whether they want to opt in to receive email marketing from you in the future. And in most of these email marketing platforms, you should be able to set up a form or some sort of landing page where they can go to opt in. And once you have those opt-ins, you will then have the start of your mailing list. So that will help you get started. And then you want to start shouting about your mailing list everywhere. So you want to have it on your website, if possible, have some sort of pop-up that comes up when people land on your website, maybe after about 30 seconds, that prompts them to opt into your mailing list. And we're going to talk more about that in a moment, because it's not always enough for people to hand over their email address just for newsletter content or, clinic updates or, even offers. They need to be given something there and then to get them to be willing to hand over their email address, because don't forget, people get a lot of marketing emails from people. We're all signed up to all sorts of things. We get spammed left, right and centre by businesses, and people are kind of, very careful now who they share their email address with. But you want to be encouraging email signups as much as possible. And you can do that through your Instagram. You can do that, like I say, for a pop-up on your website. Have it as a banner at the bottom of your website that kind of just prompts people to sign up to your mailing list with a little form embedded into the page. And you could even have it in your email signature as well. So when you're emailing existing patients, it kind of prompts them to sign up to your mailing list if they aren't already. With existing patients, it's easier to get them to agree to share their email for marketing purposes, because they are interested in you. They come to you regularly for treatments and they want to know if there's an offer going on, or if there's an event going on, or if there's a new treatment being launched. Like, they're more invested into your business than somebody who is perhaps a potential client who's considering you but not made that first step yet. So don't forget, we can now have multiple links within our bio. So this is quite easy to do, so that when people click onto that link and they're shown the list of links, you have one near the top that says sign up to our mailing list, that takes people over to that landing page where they can sign up. And make sure you're regularly sharing that link in your stories as well to invite people to sign up, because a lot of the people who watch your stories, if they're not already existing patients, they're really interested in you, they're considering having treatment with you, and signing up to a mailing list is sometimes the next step for people before they then purchase from a business, or in your case, book a consultation. But by getting them onto your mailing list, you then have a way of connecting with them and communicating with them more directly and effectively than you're able to on Instagram. And there are ways that you can share this on your stories and make it quite compelling for people. So it doesn't have to be a boring sign up to our mailing list template that you repost on your stories every week, but you could go on and you could say, do you have this common skincare concern? I'm often asked about this, and I'm just about to send an email out with my best recommendations for treating it. If you're not already on my list, DM me your email and I'll send it over to you, or click here and sign up to the mailing list to get all the details, that kind of thing, and link people through, tell them what's coming, what to expect. And then make sure that when patients book an appointment, they're automatically added to your mailing list. So make it part of your patient intake form. So you've got an option on there that people are checking to opt in to receive email marketing from you, because that is so important for then keeping in touch with that patient in between appointments, upselling, keeping your business front of mind, and they are more likely to say yes because they are coming to you, they're interested in you already. So now let's talk about the power of lead magnets and conversion funnels. So if you really want to build your email list quickly and effectively, a lead magnet is kind of a no-brainer. So if you haven't heard of a lead magnet before, it's basically a free resource or incentive that encourages people to hand over their email address. So when you go to most clothing brand websites, you will usually get a pop-up that says sign up to our mailing list and get 10% off your first purchase. That is a lead magnet. You then sign up, put your name and your email address into the form, submit it, and you will receive an email that says thank you for signing up, here is your code to get 10% off your first purchase. So that is a lead magnet. You have given them your email address, and in return they have given you a code that will save you money. But that doesn't often work in aesthetics because a lot of practitioners don't want to incentivize their treatments or offer discounts on their treatments, and that's absolutely fair enough. So there are other things that you can do instead, but the trick here is that it has to be valuable, and it has to be something that directly solves a problem or answers a burning question that your ideal patient has. So, for example, you could offer a free guide called The Ultimate Anti-Aging Skincare Routine: 5 skincare products you need to be using if you want to manage the signs of aging at home. Or it could be something along the lines of Dermal Filler 101, everything you need to know before your first filler appointment. Or it could even be a free guide of how to find a safe, reputable aesthetic practitioner for your treatments, or how to ensure natural looking results. There's so many pain points and problems and fears that people have before they book an appointment. If you create some sort of resource that you can give those people that's going to give them information that's going to help them and feel more confident about avoiding that thing or embarking on that journey, with that treatment, then they're going to download it. Why wouldn't they? It's a no-brainer. It's free. It solves an issue for them. And also it helps you stand out because not a lot of clinics utilise this. Not a lot of clinics offer these free resources, and it will help you stand out. And if you're offering a guide on, how to find a safe, reputable practitioner, and you're telling people what to do, you're establishing yourself as a trusted expert in their head. And then when they're ready to book, they're more likely to come to you. And these guides are really simple to create. They don't even need to cost you any money. You can create it yourself easily using Canva, for example, and you can download it as a PDF and then create a workflow so that when someone signs up to your mailing list, they automatically receive an email that gives them this free guide. And that sounds complicated, but it isn't, as long as you've got the right email marketing platform. And remember that a lot of these email marketing platforms are designed for business owners. They're not designed for marketers. They offer free trainings. They give you free YouTube tutorials of how to use them and how to set things up because, they're designed to be used by people who don't really know anything about email marketing. So it shouldn't be complicated to sign up. But once they have given you that email address, they will automatically receive that free guide, and then they're in your mailing list. And then you can take it a step further and put them into a nurture funnel. And that's probably the best thing you can do because you've got that email address. You want to make the most of that email address now. You don't want them to go into the mailing list and then they just sit there cold and they receive your bi-weekly or your monthly newsletter, which obviously doesn't come around that often and isn't going to nurture them as quickly or drive them through the buyer's journey as quickly as it would be if you were to put them into some sort of email nurture sequence. Now, a lot of people are worried about having these nurture email sequences because usually these sequences consist of 3 to 5 emails sent in quite a short space of time, and they think, are we spamming this person? Will they opt out? No, that person signed up because they're really interested in what you are offering. They're warm. They are a warm prospect and you need to nurture them while they're warm. They're certainly interested enough to give you their email address. They want to hear from you. And that first week where they've signed up to your mailing list, that is crucial for converting them into a paying patient. But it is really important that you use that time effectively. So a nurture email sequence is basically a series of, like I say, usually 3 to 5 automated emails designed to build trust, provide education and value, and subtly guide them towards booking a consultation. So an email nurture sequence might look a little bit like this. They'd get their first email immediately, and that would deliver the lead magnet and introduce yourself, who you are, what you do, that kind of thing. Just a very quick introduction. Here's your guide. If you have any questions, here's where you can reach us. And then email number 2 would come a couple of days later, usually 2 to 3 days later. And that would answer a common objection, fear, or pain point that your target audience often have. So if you're very injectables focused, if that's a large part of your offering, or if that's mainly why people come to you, then you could obviously choose the biggest fear that people have, and that's looking unnatural, or what if something goes wrong? And this email needs to be from you. It needs to be from a person. It needs to be of you kind of telling a story in a way of, I often get a lot of patients come to me worried about looking unnatural or something going wrong. This is how I keep you looking like you. And then, kind of going into your approach, what makes you stand out, how you look after your patients, all of that kind of thing. It's basically designed to remove those fears, break down those fears, and position you as more of a trusted expert in that person's mind. And then email number 3 will typically be sent 2 to 3 days after that, and that will share a patient transformation story. Now, you want to make this really resonate with the person who's reading it. So again, going back to the topic of injectables, if that's what people mainly come to you for, we'll want to make it injectables focused. So you could do something along the lines of, you'd have a before and after photo and focus it on one particular patient. And you could start the email by saying something like, do you feel like you look tired, even though that's not how you feel on the inside? Or do you feel like menopause is taking its toll on your skin? You want to kind of open with a question that people are going to say, yes, that's me, I relate to that, and want to read more. And then you could introduce your patient. This is Sally. She came to me feeling exactly like you are now. She felt like she looked tired. She didn't recognise herself when she looked in the mirror. She dreaded having her photos taken. It was really taking its toll on her confidence. And this is how working with me has transformed that. This is how working with me has helped her look like this, has helped build her confidence. She now loves the way she looks. She's happy, she's confident, and she feels like the best version of her. All of those kinds of things that people want to feel like after a treatment. You know, use words that people say to you in their consultations, use words that people use within their inquiries, because if you use the kind of language that people use themselves, they're going to connect with that a lot better. So I always say to people, have a look at the language and the words that people are saying when they speak to you, when they send you emails, when they inquire, when they reach out in your Instagram DMs, the things that they write on their forms when they first come to see you, because a lot of people have quite detailed forms that go into what is it specifically that's concerning you. Look at what people are writing on those forms. If you don't have one of those forms where you go into that kind of detail, maybe do, because it will really help with your marketing, and it will help with the copy that you're writing, and it will give you content ideas as well. But yeah, sharing a patient transformation story is quite powerful at this point, because it shows people what they can expect when they work with you. And again, it builds that trust and it establishes you as an expert in their eyes. And also bear in mind that at the end of these emails, you're going to want to put some sort of call to action, you know, ready to get started, want to achieve results like this, click here to book a consultation, or click here to inquire, or reply to this email with the word ready and I'll be in touch with more information. You know, make it really easy for people to make the next step, because if you don't tell them where to go next, they won't. You know, that people aren't going to go out of their way and look for things. You need to make it really easy for them. And then the 4th email, about a week later, you're going to want to explain what to expect during consultation and then invite them to book. And that's going to be your final email. And you can say that. You can say, this is the final email of this welcome series. Talk about what to expect during a consultation. We'd love to see you in clinic and help you get started on your journey. Here's how to book. And by the end of that email sequence, they're going to feel like they really know you, they really know your clinic, they really know your services, they really know what to expect when they work with you. And they're going to be much, much more likely to make a booking with you than, you know, right at the start or before they'd shared their email at all. So by getting that email address from them and taking them through that email nurture sequence, you have made it a lot more likely to turn that person who initially landed on your website or was looking at your Instagram, you've made it much, much more likely that that person is now going to spend money with you. Whereas if you didn't have that email marketing in place at all, you probably would never have got that lead. They might have gone and looked at another clinic and been drawn in by something that they've done. And, you know, you've grabbed their attention, you've hooked them in, and now you've made yourself seem like the go-to person for whatever it is that they're concerned about. This is email marketing done right. You know, you're guiding potential patients through a process rather than just expecting them to book from one social media post, because the reality is that's just not how people make their decisions when it comes to this kind of thing. It's not how people make their decisions with anything that they buy. There is always a process, and that process is a little bit more complex in aesthetics, because we're talking about needles, we're talking about a lot of scaremongering and a lot of myths and things that people say online. Money, you know, these things come with a price tag and commitment as well. People need to commit to them. There's no point in just having one Botox treatment if you're not going to maintain it. So, you know, there are a lot of barriers to purchase in aesthetics, and you need to make sure that you're doing everything you can to break down those barriers and to stand out and to nurture people who find you, because a lot of people who find you on social media aren't going to instantly book with you. You know, they might follow you, you know, hopefully they follow you and they go through that buyer's journey probably over a longer period of time than if they were to find you, go on your website, sign up to your mailing list because they're interested, but they're not quite yet ready to buy. Then you nurture them through that sequence and tell them about yourself and about what to expect from working with you a lot quicker and a lot more directly than you would be able to on social media. So yes, that's kind of the basics that everyone needs to have. Firstly, you need your email marketing platform. Then you need your lead magnet. Then you need the nurture email sequence that people receive after they've signed up to your lead magnet. And now let's talk about how to write emails that actually get opened and read. So you've built your mailing list. That's great, but that is just step one. Now comes the real challenge, and that's getting people to actually open your emails and then engage with them. So as I mentioned earlier, people receive a lot of marketing emails. You know, some people receive hundreds a day. Their inbox is crowded with promotions, newsletters, and also work-related emails, you know, and then we're going on social media and we're being bombarded by lots of other messaging. We're all seeing a lot of content. So if you want your email specifically to stand out, you cannot afford to be boring. If your subject line doesn't grab their attention immediately, your email will either get ignored or sent straight to their deleted folder. So let's break this down into two sections. So firstly, we want to talk about crafting irresistible subject lines that actually make people want to open your emails. So your subject line is the first impression of your email, and you have just a split second to convince someone to open it. Like I say, a weak or generic subject line will just get lost in the inbox noise, but a strong subject line will make them click. It will spark something in their brain that makes them want to find out more. So there are a few things that make a subject line compelling. Number one, it sparks curiosity. So people are naturally drawn to mystery and incomplete information. So if your subject line hints at something interesting without giving everything away, they will then feel compelled to open the email and learn more. So for example, could this be the solution to your dark under eye circles? Or could this be the solution to your jowls? Something along those lines, whatever it is that you want to focus on. That is a very good way to grab people's curiosity, because they're like, oh, I do have dark under eye circles. What is this solution and what makes it different to everything else that I've tried? You know, that will naturally make people curious and want to know more. You could also make it personal. So emails that feel personal perform better. Even if you're sending the same email to your entire list, it should feel like it was written for just the person who's reading it. So, you know, very easy way to do that is to use their name at the beginning of the subject line. So, Sarah, here's what you need to know about X. Or, Sarah, you're invited to our VIP event. Most email marketing platforms allow you to insert the recipient's name into the subject line automatically. Use this sparingly, don't overdo it, but when you do it right, it can make the email feel much more personal. The third thing you can do is focus on benefits and not features. So your patients don't really care about what you want to talk about, the treatment that you love and that you want to shout about. They care about what's in it for them. So your subject line should highlight the result or the transformation that they will get. So for example, get longer lasting fillers with this one tip instead of filler aftercare advice. You know, that's boring. That's not going to grab anyone's attention. But if they think it's going to make their fillers last for longer, they're going to want to know about it. Or you could say how to keep your skin glowing all winter instead of our best winter skincare treatments. They don't care about your best winter skincare treatments. They care about how they're going to keep their skin glowing all winter and in the best condition all winter. Another thing you can do is use lists or numbers. People love numbers because they create structure and predictability, and subject lines with numbers are actually proven to get higher open rates. So, you know, for example, 3 skincare mistakes you're making right now, or the 7-day glow up plan, our step-by-step guide, something like that. But anything with a number will make your email more likely to be opened. And then finally, in your subject line, you can add urgency or exclusivity to spark curiosity. So if people feel like they're going to miss out on something, they're much more likely to take action. And this works especially well when you're promoting a time-sensitive offer or an event that you need to get bookings for. So, you know, for example, last chance, 24 hours left to claim your free LED add-on, or hurry, only 3 spots left for this month's free skin consultations, something along those lines. But don't overuse those kinds of urgency tactics, because they will very quickly lose their impact with your mailing list if every email is labelled as last chance or hurry, 3 spots remaining, people stop taking them seriously. So keep those in your pocket for when you've got an offer or an event that you need to promote. So now let's talk about writing engaging email content, because getting someone to open your email is only half the battle. You've got them, they've opened it, now you need to keep them reading and, more importantly, guide them towards actually taking some sort of action at the end, whether that's booking an appointment or replying to ask a question or going over to your website to learn more about a treatment or sign up to an event, whatever it is that you want them to do. So there are a few things that you should be bearing in mind when you are writing your emails to make sure that people actually read them and love them and want to come back and read more. The first one is starting with a strong opening line. So the first sentence of your email should hook the reader in immediately. Avoid starting with something generic like, I hope you're well, what lovely weather we've been having. They've seen it 1,000 times before. Instead, you want to kind of use a question or a relatable statement or an intriguing fact. For example, did you know that 80% of premature skin aging is caused by just one thing? Or every day I hear patients say, I want natural looking results, but what does that actually mean? Or let's talk about the biggest mistake people make after getting injectables. The second thing you want to do is keep it skimmable and easy to read. So most people scan emails rather than reading them word for word. So that means big blocks of text are a no-go and people will literally just click off and go and do something else. You will not get people reading a huge paragraph of text. And it's the same thing with your Instagram captions. I'll just throw that in there now because I see a lot of people do this, where they have big, long paragraphs, chunky paragraphs of text as their Instagram captions. No, you don't write in email or on Instagram as you would if you were writing your university dissertation. You write very informally. So there will be spaces and paragraphs where there should not be lines and paragraphs, because you're wanting to make it easy to read and easy to consume over being very grammatically correct. So when I say short paragraphs, 1 to 3 sentences maximum, use bold text or bullet points to highlight key takeaways, and make sure you break up your content with subheadings as well so that people can easily, and people do this subconsciously, and next time you're reading an email, try and make a note to watch what you do. Also think about what you do when you look at that email, because you will find that when you open an email that you've received from a business, marketing email, or you're reading someone's caption on Instagram, you will literally just be scanning through that. You're not reading it the left to the right, left to the right, left to the right, like you would if you were reading a book. You're just scanning it and looking for the information that you want. And then what you want to do is you want to read your email out loud before sending. So if it sounds robotic or clunky, try and rewrite it to be more conversational, exactly like you would speak to a patient. The third thing you want to do is make it personal and relatable. So emails should feel like they're coming from a real person, not a faceless business. So the worst thing you can do is put from, whatever your clinic name is. It needs to be from you, the business owner, ideally. And write in a friendly conversational tone, just like you would if you were speaking to a patient in your clinic. So instead of saying the word our, you will use the word I and write in first person. So instead of saying our clinic offers advanced skincare solutions tailored to your needs, you would say, I know how frustrating it can be when your skincare routine isn't giving you the results that you want. That's exactly why I have introduced treatment to help you finally achieve your skin goals, whatever it might be. You want to use the word I so that it's coming from an individual person, and you want to be talking in a conversational tone like you would to a patient, not writing as if you were writing a piece of copy that's going to go onto your website, which is going to be a bit more formal. Because between those two examples that I've shared, one sounds quite corporate and distant, and the other sounds personal, relatable, and engaging, and that's going to keep people reading. And the next thing you need to do is include a clear call to action. So like I said, every email should have one clear goal, whether that's booking a treatment, going through reading a blog post, or following you on Instagram, or watching a YouTube video, whatever it is. You need to tell your reader exactly what you want them to do next. So if you want to get people to book a consultation, instead of saying we offer consultations to help you find the best treatment, try saying want personalised advice for your skin, click here to book a consultation and let's create a plan that works for you. And your call to action should be clear, it should be easy to follow, and it should be placed near the end of the email so readers know exactly what action to take. And if you have a particularly long email with different sections where you might be talking about different things, although my advice would be not to make it too long or to cover too many subjects, but if it is particularly long, then you could break that up with different call to actions between each section. So you have one section that's talking about creepy skin and you're talking about skin booster, have a call to action after that to push them to book a consultation, and then underneath that you might have some sort of clinic update or something, and then you'd have a different call to action at the end. But you don't want to just leave the call to action for what that creepy skin segment until the end, because if people then scroll down and they're like, I don't care about this clinic update that this person's talking about, they might just come off the email and they've not followed up on the creepy skin that they would have otherwise done. So yes, just be aware that you're putting call to actions in the right places and that you're making it very seamless for people to take the next step. And finally, end it with a friendly sign off. You want to close your email in a way that feels warm and approachable. So instead of, best regards, the team at clinic name, try something a little bit more personal. Use your name, looking forward to seeing you soon in clinic, or looking forward to helping you glow, and then your name and the clinic name underneath that. Like I say, it should be ideally coming from the clinic owner, not the clinic, because that's much harder to make personal. And finally, I just want to touch on the frequency of sending emails. So this is something that a lot of people ask me, is how often should I be emailing my list? And the answer really depends on what you can realistically commit to. But consistency really is key. So if you're only emailing your mailing list once every 3 months, when you actually have a promotion or an event that you want to get people signing up to, then you're doing it wrong. You need to be consistently providing value so that when you do send a promotional email, people are excited to book, rather than just feeling like you've suddenly popped up to sell something. And at that point, they're a cold audience. They've not heard from you in ages, and they're going to be far less likely to hand over their money to you than if you were nurturing them regularly every couple of weeks, every week, whatever it is. I would say ideally aim for at least 2 emails per month and make at least one of them packed with educational content, rather than just having an email full of kind of clinic updates, promotions, or before and after photos. Make one of them really kind of value packed for the reader, giving them some sort of free advice that is going to help them with a particular problem that they have. But if you can manage weekly emails, that's even better. Just remember, value first and sales second. So email marketing really is one of the most powerful tools that you have for building relationships, staying top of mind, and increasing bookings. And when done right, it allows you to nurture potential patients, not just existing ones, re-engage past patients who might have gone off the radar, and it positions yourself as the go-to expert in your field. And I really hope this episode has helped break down email marketing, make it seem less overwhelming if you've been considering it, or if you've just not known where to start, or if you don't understand how to build your mailing list. I hope it's cleared up some of that confusion and made it seem a lot more possible for you to do. And if you do have any other questions about this subject, I'm more than happy to help. Feel free to reach out in my Instagram DMs or send me an email. I'd love to hear from you. I really hope you've enjoyed this episode. If you have, don't forget to subscribe and to leave a review, and I will see you in the next one. Thank you for listening.